Hello, hi everyone. Good morning.
Good.
Okay, so let us continue with our topics. So I have shared the revised schedule with you guys. So we might not go with the exact schedule, we might mix with the schedules, but make a note that what are the topics we are covering and let me know if I'm missing anything. Because per day we might also cover two topics and sometimes we might also cover half of the topic. Because from today we are going to start with the main topics. Till now, we have just covered the enterprise structure, the master datas, and the P2P cycle. From now, we are going to the main configurations, like how are we going to release the POs? How are we going to maintain the automatic account terminations? How are we going to maintain the inventory, the special procurements? So all these are the important and complex topics. So from today, we will be starting the main topics. And also from today, we'll be starting the level 2. The timing will be from 4 to 6. So you would have received the schedule for the evening sessions also. So quickly, let me start today's session. So today's session will be regarding the release procedure. So let me share my screen and start. Let me know if you can see my screen. Can I guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
it's visible.
So as I mentioned, we'll be starting with the important topic, which is called as release procedure. So when we are discussing regarding the P2P cycle, we discussed something regarding the releasing the purchase requisition and the releasing the purchase order. So if a buyer is raising a purchase requisition or if a buyer is raising a purchase order, it also applies for the contract and the schedule agreement. If anyone is raising any order, if that needs to be released, in that case, we need to go with this release procedure. So this release procedure is nothing but the approval flow. For PR, we use to ME54 to release the PO. For PO, it is ME29 to release the PO. Okay. So whenever you have a document, for example, you have a requirement. When I say you have a requirement, the purchase requisition is a requirement. Okay. Whenever you have a requirement, you create a purchase order. Sorry, purchase requisition. And this purchase requisition needs to be converted to PO, or this purchase requisition needs to be converted to contract. Only then it will be processed. Okay. So whenever there is a purchase requisition, the business feels that this purchase requisition needs to be approved. Why it needs to be approved? Because the business does not know, or the business really wants to know that this material is required or not. So what happens whenever the PR is raised, it will go for an approval to the requirement manager. It might be requirement manager, it might be the manager of the buyer. It goes to the person of the director. Sometimes it goes also for the director, and they will approve it, saying that the material can be purchased from another vendor or the material can be procured from internal also. So post those are approved, based on the approval levels, it will get approved and the PR will get converted to PO. When I say PR is getting released and PO is getting released, there will be not only one person who is going to release the PR or PO. There might be multiple people who is going to release the PO or PR. That depends on the value of the PR or PO, the value of the PR, or the PO. So what is this value? Can someone tell what is this value?
The total buying cost of a particular material.
Yes. So the total value of the PR or the total value of the PO, based on the total value of the PR or PO, the approval flow gets decided. For example, I have PO and this PO value is 1000 rupees. I will tell just supervisor is sufficient to approve this. If my value is more than 10,000, then my manager should approve it. If the PO is more than 1 lakh, then the senior manager should come into picture. When it is more than 10 lakhs, then the director should release it. When it is more than 10 lakhs, then the CEO should release. So these are the levels of approvals we have in the PO or the PR. Okay, so let me recall, whenever you have a requirement, the PR is generated. Based on this, the purchase requisition is generated. In PR, you will decide what is the value of the PR based on the items you put, and based on the item value, the value is getting calculated, and that is going for the set of approval who is needs to release it based on the value. Now, one more thing. We said that based on the value, it is going for approval. Now, how is this release procedure getting triggered? What is the condition? If something needs to come into picture, for example, if someone is placing a purchase requisition for the raw material, then it should come to me, so I should release it. If someone is raising a raw material PR for the plant XYZ, then it should go for the other person. If someone is placing the PR for the same material, but the plant is different, then it should go for person B. So based on the conditions, the release strategy will get decided. So how is this conditions getting decided? These conditions are getting decided based on the values you fill on the PR. So in PR, we fill a lot of information. For example, we fill material, we fill plant, we fill document type, we fill purchase organization, we fill purchase group, we fill value. So all these are the information we fill in the purchase requisition. We still have more fields, but these are the main fields which are impacting the purchase. Okay, so as soon as we put this information in the PR and click on the check icon, a new tab will get generated, which is called as release procedure or release strategy. Under this release strategy, you will have the levels of approvers. If it is supervisor, then manager, then it follows the flow. Okay, so many of the approvers are needed. So many approvers are needed. If this PR is approved based on the levels and condition, only then the PR will get converted to PO. If not, the PR will still stay in the queue for the approval. Okay, so now I'm going to tell, or business is going to tell that, so I have different type of procurement. I do material purchase, I do service purchase. So last time we created ZMAT, ZSER. This is for material PO or PR. This is for service PO or PR. This is a document type. So my business will tell whenever I'm going to raise a purchase requisition or the purchase order, I have two types of purchase. One is material, one is service. Whenever I'm placing a purchase requisition or purchase order for material, it should go to ABC or person one, ABC. Whenever I'm raising a purchase order or purchase requisition for service, it should go to XYZ. So this is a requirement. And he also tells that this should happen only for one plant. This should happen only for one plant. So he tells that only for this plant it should be valid. For other plant, we have other persons. Okay. And he says that whenever the value is less than or equal to 10,000, it should go to supervisor and manager. Whenever the value is greater than or equal to 10,000, it should go to supervisor, manager, senior manager, and the director. This is a requirement. So based on these values, the release procedure should get affected. Whenever you fix these values in the background of configuration, and then you create a purchase requisition using these values, only these values, then system will automatically trigger the release procedure and go for the approval for the certain IDs. For example, if I'm raising a purchase requisition for using ZMAT document type with the plant of 1994 and the value is greater than or equal to 10,000, then this will go for approval. If I'm raising a PR for ZMAT, value is still greater than 10,000, but plant is 1985. In this case, the release procedure will not get applicable. So release will be applicable only when the values are matching with the conditions. This is very, very important. If the release procedure is not getting affected, then the first thing what we need to check is the conditions. What is the conditions we have set? Okay, so based on this, we will be doing the configuration. So this is the insight of the release procedure, why we use release procedure, and what are the levels of release procedure, what are the conditions we can use, and how are we going to use the conditions. Okay, before I move with the different types of configuration of release procedure, any questions here?
Sir, what is ZMAT, sir?
Sorry,
ZMAT.
sorry, my voice is not clear.
What is ZMAT, sir?
ZMAT is a document type which we discussed last week. So in last week, in P2P cycle, we said that we'll be using the document type. For purchase requisition, standard is NB, and for purchase order is NB. So we created the custom document type ZMAT or BMAT. We try to create those in our system. If you go through the last video, you will be able to understand what is the materials document type, what is service document type, all those things.
Okay.
Venkatesh, is it a consultant responsibility to set those conditions?
Yes, it is.
Then who will give these price values and this approval
Business will
hierarchy?
give the values. Based on the values business give, we are going to set in the configuration.
Okay, fine.
Venkatesh, I have a doubt. Maybe it is correct or wrong. I'm not sure. If one material is raising a request with a purchase value of it was in a USD, and some other plant is required with same material with different value, means it was in euro. How can we proceed on that case?
That depends on the vendor master. If you want one material to be purchased from INR currency and one material from USD currency, then the purchase place is different, right? You're purchasing the material from different places.
Yes.
Then in that case, you will have one vendor or multiple vendors.
Multiple.
If you have multiple vendors, then can we create one PO with two vendors?
I think so, no.
Then you have your answer. So one PO with the INR currency, one PO with USD currency.
If supplier is same,
If supplier is same, then how can you get the material from one material from India and one material from US?
means different plant locations.
If different plant location, then you're going to create different address, right?
Right.
Then you're going to create different vendors. The GST value is different.
Okay, clear.
Any more questions? Okay. If no questions, then now we discussed regarding the release procedure, how it works, what are the levels, all those things. Now coming into SAP. So we have different types of release strategies in SAP. Now I'm speaking in prospective SAP. There are two types of release procedure. In SAP. One is with classification. One is without classification. So what is this with classification and without classification? So this is very, very important. This is a configuration part. With classification is nothing but with conditions. So I said that business need the release procedure only to be affected when the document type is this, plant is this, and the value is this. So they are fixing the values. When you have these conditions, only then the release procedure should get affected or enabled. That can be achieved only with classification release procedure. Okay. Then we have without classification. Without classification is without the conditions. So if business does not have any values, they will tell that for all the PRs, for all the purchase requisition, I want single approval flow. There should be only one person who is going to approve it. Then you can go with this. If you have multiple persons who is going to approve the PR, then go with the one. If there is only one person who is going to approve, then go with two. Normally, what we have seen in business is there will be multiple persons who is going to approve the PR. So always the business uses or consultant uses with classification for safer side. Initially, if business is telling that there is only one person who is going to release the purchase requisition as of now, the counter question should be in future, there will be any other person who is going to come into picture for an add-up? If yes, then you need to straight away go to the with classification. The difference between with classification and without classification is in with classification, you will have the conditions as I mentioned. Without classification, you will not have the conditions. That's it. Okay. This is the two types of release procedure. And then you have two levels of approvals. So in PR or PO, And one more thing I forgot to mention. This with classification and without classification is applicable only for PR. For PO, it is always with classification. Okay. This with classification and without classification is applicable only for PR. And this for PO, it is always with classification. Okay. Then coming to the levels. So we discussed regarding the levels previously, what are the levels of approvals we have. But this is at what level are we going to release the PR or PO? So now, if you open ME23N or ME53N, you have two levels in the PR or PO. One is header, one is item. We discussed this last week. What is header? What is item? Can someone tell what is header level? What is item level? We discussed this last week.
Header level is you will get data for the purchase organization and the vendor and all those details. And item levels will be for what is the item, its quantity, price, the delivery date, all those things.
Okay. Any more answers? Any more answers? Okay. The last session I mentioned that whatever values we put on the header, it is applicable for all the items in the PO or PR. The details what we put in the item level is for the individual item. The information what you put at header level is applicable for complete PO. The information what we put at item level is for individual item. So that is the reason we have this release procedure also divided into two levels. One is header level, one is item level. If you are releasing at header level, you are releasing the complete PR or PO. If you are releasing the PR or PO at the item level, then you are releasing only particular item. For example, in PR, you have line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4. 4 materials with different quantity. M1, M2, M3, M4. 10 pieces, 20 pieces, 30 pieces, 40 pieces. This is a PR. And if business decides, we have two levels. We have header level release, we have item level release. If business decides, if they want to release at header level and release at header level, all these lines will get released in a single go. If they decide they need to release at item level, they need to release each line one by one. Remember this, if we release the PR or PO at header level, it will be released all the items. If you release at item level, it will be only the line wise. You can hold the other line and release only one line, for example. Okay. And now this is also very important. This item level and the header level is applicable only for the PR. For PO, it is only header level. In PR, you can release item level and the header level. In PO, you can only release at the header level. Okay. So this is the importance of the release procedure in the perspective of theoretical as well as system-wise. Any questions?
Sir, if we release like for PR at the item level, out of 3 items, if we release only 2, so until we release the third item, it will not be getting converted to PO, or those 2 items will be converted to PO.
Yes. So if you're going with item level for PR and you're releasing only these 2 lines, for example, line 1 and line 4, only these 2 will get converted to PO. These 2 will be on hold until you release.
Okay.
So that PR will not be closed until we release all the line items, right?
Yes, yes. No, the PR will not get closed until the PO is released. The PO is created. Sorry. The PR will not get closed until the PR is released. The it is converted to PO. PO is delivered and invoiced. Until that, the PR will still keep open. It should complete the P2P cycle completely. Only then the PR will get closed.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Sure. If we release the PO, once we release the PO, can there be a chances of cancellation of the PR?
Sorry.
Once we release the PO and convert the PR into PO, while we doing that only if they close the PR from the other end.
Then you will not be able to convert it into PO.
Okay, right.
Okay. If no more questions, then I'll define what are the configuration steps, and then we can do the configuration of the release procedure. So now, config steps. First thing is you need to create the characteristics. Then you have the create class. Then you have create release group. I'll tell what all are this. Then you have release codes. Then you have release indicators. Then you have release strategy. Then you have the workflow. Okay, so these are the configuration steps. So let me go one by one. So first thing is the release characteristics. So what are these characteristics? So characteristics are nothing but condition values. Conditions. So I said the release procedure will get triggered only based on the condition. So my business will tell, I want the condition. I want a condition placed based on the document type, plant, and the value. I want to set the release procedure only based on these conditions. So these are my characteristics. So conditions are my characteristics. Okay. So you're going to create these conditions individually. When I say conditions, we are going to create these characteristics individually, and we are going to group these characteristics into one class. So group characteristics. Group the characteristics into one class because we are creating this individually. So we need to group those. So we need one particular class. So we are doing that. And we have this release group. This release group will help us to understand, are we going to release the PR overall or item? When I say overall, header or item. This is not applicable for PO. It is only applicable for PR. Okay. Then we have the release codes. Release codes will tell who are the levels of approval he's going to release. Is it supervisor? Is it manager? Is it senior manager? Is it director? Is it CEO? So these persons band is created as the release codes. These persons bands are created as release codes. Okay. Then we have the release indicators. So this release indicator will tell the rules of release procedure. Okay. In this release strategy, we are going to fix the values. And this workflow is going to say who is the person. Approver. So this step is not done by consultant. It is done by HR consultant. Okay. Any questions before I move into the configuration? In the meanwhile, I'll log into SAP.
Hi Venkatesh, this is a different topic that is FIORI, which you said you'll be taking in the next session.
Sorry, FI?
ORI.
Yeah, I'll try to cover that.
Okay.
That takes only 10 minutes to cover. So if in any of the session, if I left with 10 minutes, I'll cover the Fury there. Any questions? Okay, so let me take the scenario and start the configuration. My business is telling whenever the document type is BMAT, the plant is 1994 and the value is, I have more values, for example, less than or equal to 1000, less than or equal to 10,000, less than or equal to 1 lakh, less than or equal to 10 lakhs. If it is less than or equal to 10,000, then it should go for supervisor. If it is 10,000, supervisor plus manager. If this case, supervisor plus manager plus senior manager. In this case, supervisor plus manager plus senior manager plus the director. So this is the condition. So first, as I mentioned, first we need to create the characteristics. What are the characteristics? These three are my characteristics. I'll create this. I'll club these three into one class and then create these release codes. And then I'll create the release strategy. Okay. Now let me go to SAP. Let me share my screen. Let me know if you can see my SAP screen.
Yes.
Okay. So to do the configuration, as I mentioned, we will always use the transaction SPRO. In this SPRO, I'll go to reference IMG. Here I go into the material management and purchasing. If you don't want to come to SPRO, then come to material management, then purchasing. You can also try with the new transaction, which is called as OLME. This transaction will directly take you to the purchasing. Okay. Under this purchasing, you will be able to see the purchase requisition, purchase orders, contract. We have seen this last week. So now let us assume that we are going to create the configuration for purchase requisition. I'll create only for purchase requisition. For purchase order, you guys need to try. Okay. If I have time, we'll also do it for purchase order also. So for this purchase requisition, here you see the release procedure. If I expand this, here I have with classification and without classification. So I said the difference between with classification and without classification. In with classification, you will have the conditions to set. You will have the conditions to set. In without classification, you will not have any conditions to set. So we said that we will go with classification. So I'm going with classification here. In this with classification, the first step of configuration is the characteristics. So what is characteristics? You need to decide on what conditions are we going to trigger this release procedure. So execute. Before I create the characteristics, I need to introduce one more transaction to you, which is called as SE11. The transaction is SE11. In this SE11 transaction, you will be able to find what is a table, what is a field. So whenever we create the purchase requisition, you have a lot of fields. You have document type, you have material, you have supplier, you have purchase requisition, you have purchase organization, purchase group. So all these are the fields. So all these fields are getting stored in some tables. There are two levels of tables. One is header level, one is item level. Okay. For PR, you have only one table. For PO, you have two tables. One is at header level, one is at item level. So now why I'm speaking regarding this table is, if you want to create the characteristics, you need to know the field name. Same was applied when we was creating the screen layout for the material type. For material type, we thought of hiding some fields. We thought of making mandatory of some fields. So for that, we need to know the field name and the table name. The same way, if you want to create a characteristics, you need to know what is the table name and what is the field name of this purchase requisition. So for purchase requisition, we use the table name CEBAN. There is a table. CEBAN is a table which is used for purchase requisition. And apart from purchase requisition, you have purchase order, you have contract, for all those things, you are going to use CEKKO. CEKKO is for PO, contract, schedule agreement. And CEBAN is only for purchase requisition. Okay, so enter and click on display. So this will show you all the fields which are there in the purchase requisition. You can see material number, you can see purchase group, you can see plant, store location, material group. You will see all the fields which are there in the purchase requisition. Against that, you will also see what is a field name. This is a field name. These all are the field names. So now what is the requirement? We are going with three fields. One is a document type, one is a plant, and one is a value. So now let us keep this screen open. Go to the second screen, type. Now we are in P15. So I'm going to create a document type. Okay, document type as a characteristics. Type the name, click on create. Don't enter anything here. Directly go to the values. Okay. Go to additional data. Put the table name, what I mentioned, CEBAN, and the field name. So for document type, what is the field name? Now come to the screen again. Search where is document type here. You have it at the starting itself. For this is the field. Take the field name, copy it, and paste it over here. BSART is a field name. As of now, as we are fresher, we can use SE11 transaction. But going forward, we should not come to this transaction. You need to have your tables, you need to have your fields in your mind. Okay, tables and fields should be in your mind. You don't want to come to this transaction every time. Initially, if you come, that is fine as your fresher. In interview, they might ask a lot of questions related to the tables and fields. They might ask, what is a field for plant? What is a field for purchase group? What is a field for purchase organization? Okay, we need to keep everything in our mind. So as of now, I'm entering the document type BSART. Enter. System tells all the information will be picked from this table. So data type, length, the description, everything will come from this table. We click enter, you can see description coming automatically, the data type coming automatically, number of characters coming automatically. Now,
Venkatesh, one small doubt, sorry. That characteristic which you have entered, is there any limitation for the length, or like it has to be defined with underscore every time?
no, if you want to put space in SAP for some transactions, if you want to put a space, then you should put underscore. Only then it will take as a space. And coming to the length, you can click on F1. help, go to the technical information, and you can see what is the length here. You can take this field and you can check what is the length. So let me check what is the length. So here you can see characteristics name. The length is 30. So you can put 30 characters in it. So how to check that? You can select the field. You can also right click on it. You will find help. Select help. Go to the technical information. Select the field. Double click on the field. That will take you to the same SE11 transaction. Here you have the characteristics name and you will see the length here.
Okay, thank you.
That is 30 characters. Okay, and now you have here single value and multiple values. So are we going to configure this release procedure for single document type or multiple document types? As of now, the requirement is only for single document type. If you have multiple document types, select the multiple document types. Okay, and save. Before saving, take this information and store somewhere. Because as this system is a test system, we have a lot of entries. I can't keep on searching what is the value I created. Okay, next thing is the plant. So plant. Click on create. Directly go to additional data. Put the table name. Table name is same C1. And the field name for the plant is WERKS. WERKS is a plant field name. So if you want to cross check, you can go here. Here you have the plant. Here you have the field. Okay. So I click enter. All the information comes automatically. Select multiple values if you want to do this for multiple plants and save it. Okay. And the last thing is the value. Click on create, go to additional value, put the table name. Now, in the field name, you have two fields here. For value, you have two fields. Because we can create the PR at the header level as well as the item level. So for header, you have one table, one field name. For item, you have one field name. GFWERT, GNETW is the field names. Now let me show the difference here. Total value of the item, GSWRT. If you want to go at item level, then put this field. If you want to go at header level, then you will see overall release of purchase requisition. This one. You can go with this. If you want to go with a header level, then go with this. This. Total value of requisition of overall. If you want to go at line by line, then take the other one. So as of now, I'll take this. GFWRT. So I put it over here, click on enter. System will ask the currency, in which currency you want to check the release procedure. I tell INR. And here you have one more thing. This indication, interval values allowed. So what is this interval values allowed? So you tell that greater than or equal to 10,000. The greater than or equal to is a special character. If you want to allow the special character, then you need to select this. If you don't select this, then the system will not take the special character. System will accept only the number. System will not take the special characters. So I'll enable this and click on save. And be careful while creating release procedure. Please follow the steps as I mentioned. If you do any mistake, the release procedure will not get triggered and you need to start from beginning. And the important thing is we will not be able to find where is the issue. Okay. So this is how we create the characteristics. The first thing, we created the characteristics now. Let's go to class. So I tell the class, I put the class name, class type. So what is this class type? There are different classes in SAP. We have batch class, we have release class, we have material class. So we have different classes in SAP. As of now, we are creating the release class. For release class, the code is 032. 032 is the code which we are using for release strategy. This is very, very important. This might also be your interview question. 032 is the release strategy class type. So put this and then click on create. Put the description. Go to the characteristics and mention your all the characteristics what is created. So I take it from here directly and I paste it over here, click on enter. Okay, and I save it. This is my class. So I'll take my class and put it over here. Okay, so class type is created. Now I go to the remaining steps. Release group. So I said release group will decide how are we going to release. Are we going to release at header level? Are we going to release at item level? All those things. And one more thing to remember here. In one system, you can have only one release group. For example, now in this session, we have 19 people. These 19 people cannot maintain 19 groups. System will accept only one group. So if one person is practicing release procedure, the other person should wait. Okay. If one person is completed, the next person can come and delete this, save it, go back, come inside again, and then click on new entries and start creating yours. Okay. And put your name who is creating this release group so that the other person can contact this person and ask if he can release or he can delete this release group. So now, are we going to release the purchase acquisition at header level or the item level? So this field, this column will decide at what level are we going to release the PR, at header level or the item level. So as of now, I'll tell header level. Enter and save. So this is how we create the release group. So now we have the release codes. So what is release codes? Release codes are nothing but are we going to have supervisor, manager, senior manager, director, CEO, all those things. So I'll create it over here. So group will be same B1, which we created initially. B1. Okay. Code. So I'll say supervisor, manager, senior manager, director, and the CEO. Put the description if you need. Supervisor, manager, senior manager, director, and the CEO. Enter and save it. Okay. Now we are at the indicators. So this indicator is very, very important. In this indicator, system will show if the PR is blocked or released. If it is blocked, then it will show X. If it is released, then it will show 1. Okay, keep it standard. I don't want to change this. Okay, I'll go back. Strategies. Now I'm going to create the strategy. In this strategy, I'm going to tell at what level who should appear. So for example, release group is B1. Now I'm going to create a strategy. First strategy. If my value is less than or equal to 1000, then only supervisor should approve. This is what we discussed. Whenever the value is less than or equal to 1000, supervisor should approve. Now follow all these path and complete it. Go to release requisition, check if the supervisor is coming, continue it. Go to release status. If supervisor is not approving, it should be blocked. Once he approved, it should go for a release for quotation or release for purchase order. Fine with me. Or if you don't want RFQ, you want only purchase order, then go with release for purchase order. If you want contract, then go with the other one. So I'll go with RFQ and contract. Continue. Classification. Don't maintain any classification as of now, or if you want, you can maintain it over here. That is not a problem. So go back, save it. After saving only, then after only saving, then you go to release simulation. Before saving, don't go to release simulation. Stimulate the release. Double click on this. If this changes to release already affected, only then your release strategy is going to work fine. Okay, save. Now go with the second one. Same B1, A2. Now my value is going to be less than or equal to 10,000. In this case, my supervisor should approve, my manager should approve. Now this release prerequisite will play a role. So you have a checkbox now. Who should approve first? If your supervisor should approve first, then keep it blank. If your manager should approve first, then keep this blank. So I'll go with down. First, my supervisor should approve, then only it should come to manager. Continue. Status, both are not approved, it is still blocked. Supervisor is approved, it is still blocked. Both are approved, only then it is going for PO. Continue. Classification, don't put any values, go back, save it, simulation. First level affected, second level affected. This means the purchase requisition will go for the approval first to the supervisor. Once the supervisor approves it, only then it will come for the manager queue. Until the supervisor is not approved, it will not come to the manager queue. Once the manager approves, only then it will go to the PO creation. Save it. Third one, B1, A3, less than or equal to 1 lakh. Supervisor, manager, senior manager. Pre-request. Now you keep, when you keep on adding the release codes, your boxes keep on added. So first supervisor will release, then it will go to manager, then it will go to the senior manager. Continue. Status, all three will be blocked. Once everything is released, only then it will go to the approval. Classification, I'm going to keep it blank as of now. Save it. Simulation. Simulate, now we have 3. So first, second, and third. Cancel. Okay. Save. If you want to create one more, you can create it. P1, A4, less than or equal to 10 lakhs. P1 lakh is 10 lakhs. Supervisor, manager, senior manager, director, CEO. Pre-request, select all these flows. Continue. Status. Everything will be blocked until everyone releases. Classification. I don't want to enter anything. Save it. Simulation. Stimulate. Now you have a lot of releases. Check everything if it is possible. Then close this. Now your configuration is ready. Now we need to maintain the values. To maintain the values, go to the transaction CL24N. Put your class, click on enter. All your strategies will come here. Double click on first strategy, scroll down, document type. So let me check what is the document type, what I have. For which document type I need to trigger the release procedure. So BMAT. So I'll tell for BMAT for the plant this. Whenever the value is less than or equal to 1000 INR. Okay. Second stage. Whenever my document type is BMAT, plant is this less than or equal to 10,000. Third line. BMAT 1994 less than or equal to 1 lakh. Last one. Whenever my document type is BMAT, plant is this less than or equal to 10 lakhs. Put everything and save. Now my values are set. Why I suggested to put the values in this transaction is you will not miss anything here. If you put in the release strategy, it might get mixed up. So I prefer to put it over here. Now my release strategy is set. Let me go and create the PR. So let me create a normal PR first. I'm using document at NB. I'm putting the material, quantity, plant, store location, purchase group. Click on check. In a header, here you will be able to see the release strategy coming. It is not coming because my condition was my document type should be BMAT, but it is not matching. My plant is 1994 and the value is 10,000 here. This 10,000 and 1994 is matching, but this document type is not matching. That is the reason it is not triggering. Now, if I change the document type to BMAT, I selected BSER, I should select BMAT. Okay, I'm selecting this supplier. Okay, this supplier is fine. Now I check this. When I check, a new tab is coming here. It's called release strategy. In my evaluation, the PR value is 10,000. As per 10,000, let me go to this transaction /NCL24N. As per 10,000, it is equal to or less than 10,000 is the second one. In this case, it should go for 2 persons. If you go to release for strategy, it is going for 2 persons. Okay. Now let me increase the value. So I'll increase the quantity 1000. When I move to 1000, the PO value is 1 lakh now. When it is 1 lakh, it should go for 3 levels. So click on check. It is going for 3 levels. If I increase the quantity to 10,000. 10,000 into 100 is quantity requested. Okay, there is an issue. Okay, there is a comma removed. So 10,000. Putting 10,000, 10,000 into 100 is 10 lakhs. If I check, it goes for 5 level of approvals. So this is how we are going to create the release procedure. Now just think your business change their mind. They want this to be created at the item level. They don't want at header level, they want at item level. So what we can do is we can just go to this configuration, release group, uncheck this, save this, the first step. And also you need to do one more thing. Go to the document type, BMAT. Here also you will have the overall release. Uncheck this and save. After you do these two changes, if you go and create the PR now, BMAT, material, let me put the quantity, plant, allocation, purchase group, and click on check. Now the release strategy will not come in the header level, it will come under item level. Okay, so this is how you are going to shift the release strategy from header level to item level. Okay. Any questions?
Venkatesh, why classification should not be selected?
Why classification?
Should not be selected when while setting up the release procedure.
Which classification you mean now?
You are defining approvers, right?
Okay.
Supervisor.
So this one. This one.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you put the classification here, system will not take the values. It will take the value as a bug. So that is the reason we use a different transaction to maintain the classifications. So if I go to pre-request, so we maintain the values there, right? So the same values will flow here also. If I show that, see here, there is an error in the classification. So that is the reason we don't maintain the classification here. We maintain it in this transaction. So both are same.
So even in the real like live projects, it is the same
Yes, it is
scenario.
same. We will maintain it here.
Okay. And in the prerequisites, they are like the checkbox, even the horizontal and the vertical here. Yeah. Why you have not checked for the manager level?
No, it is
Supervisor
selected.
is fine. No,
It is selected here.
horizontally, I'm saying, because
Okay. In that case, let me explain. So in this case, if you're selecting in this way, if you're going with this level, so your release strategies will go like this. First, it will go to supervisor. Post that he approved. Then it will go to manager. Then it will go to senior manager. Then it will go to director. Then it will go to CEO. If you select the above one, it will go reverse. It will go to CEO first, then the directors, then the senior manager, then the manager, then supervisor. If you want to test, we can test that. So I uncheck all this. Select all this in the reverse manner. And if I go to status, you can see first it will go to CEO, then it will go to director, then it will come to senior manager, then supervisor. But this is a reverse format.
okay.
We don't want the reverse format. We need it should first go to supervisor, then manager, then senior manager, then director, then CEO. It should flow like this, not like this. That decides based on the prerequisite we have here.
Okay. And one more is a generic question. So while entering the transaction codes, you either start with /n or /o. why that difference? Like, how can we differentiate why when we have to start with /n or when we have to start with /o?
Okay, that I explained in the initial session itself, I guess. So we are here in this transaction, for example. Assume that you want to keep this transaction open and you want to open the fresh screen. Then what you will do? As the basic, you go and click on this, right? New GUI window.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do that. I enter /o and then put the transaction. If I put /o and then put the transaction, this screen will be still open and a new screen will get open. So a new screen got open here with this, and this my old screen is still open. Now, let me close this. Now assume this, I want to open a new transaction, but I want to close this and open that one. So then I'll put /n, then MA23N. And if I open this, I will have this screen getting open, but the previous screen is closed. If I put /n, the previous screen will get closed. If I put /o, the screen will be still open and you will have the next screen getting open. That is the difference between /n and /o. O will add a screen, N will close the screen and open the new screen.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Hi, sir. This is Mahendra. I just want to know while putting the values, the currency has any role, or because if the PR is in INR, the value will be different, and if it is in dollar, it will be different.
Yes. But when you created the release, sorry, when you created the characteristics here, we defined it should be INR. That is the reason when you maintain the values here, it picked INR automatically.
So for if the PR is in another currency, how
it'll get converted. It'll get converted to the values. You have a currency exchange which is maintained by FICO. Finance and Controlling, they will maintain the values of the converter there. So whenever you have the USD in the PR, then that will convert to INR and then go for release.
Noted. Thank you.
Yeah. Any more questions?
Sir, can you share the list of transactions with us, transaction codes?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Thank you.
And Venkatesh, is there any manual we can follow, like once after we lose the access or for the teachable, like is there any manual that we can download and follow? It's not uploaded in the teachable.
When you mean manual, you mean a PDF which will explain this?
Yeah.
I need to search for the document. I don't know, my WhatsApp got erased before 2 or 3 weeks and I don't have the data handy. I need to search for the document and I'll share you.
Okay. Prabhu has it?
Yeah, he might have it. You can ask once. If you don't have, then I need to search.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Venkatesh, this database tables are predefined or it will be defined by us?
Database tables are predefined.
Predefined. Thank you.
Yeah. So I have a PDF where it shows a step by step, but it is with all the topics. But check only with the covered topics, that will help. I'll share in the group. I'll also share the transaction codes.
Thank you.
So I share the transaction codes, and let me also share the file with the details of the configuration. Yes, it is shared. Both are shared.
Thank you.
The theory part is remaining. Let me
Yeah,
connect it.
I'll take it now. I have 30 minutes more. I'll take it now.
Yeah.
Theory part will just take 10 minutes, so I thought of keeping it for combined with other topic. I'll take it now. If no questions, then I'll start Fury. So to log into Fury, we have a transaction called UI2FLP. So the transaction is /n/UI2/FLP. This Fury is nothing but it is a clone of the GUI. So the screen, what we are using here is the GUI, which is called as graphical user interface. So here in this GUI, we need to use the transaction codes. If you need to create a material, we need to use MM01. If you need to create a purchase acquisition, ME51 or ME21 to create a PO. You need to remember all the transaction codes. So the end user who is going to work on this system cannot remember all these transaction codes. So SAP has created a new platform called SAP Fury, where they have introduced not using the transaction, using it as an application, using it as a mobile phone, for example. For example, in your mobile phone, you use an application. If you want to open any social media, you go to Play Store, you download the application and you use it. You don't want to know what is the code of that application. You just type the name. In the same way, this Fury does not want to use the transaction codes. It can use the names. So I go to this transaction. This will take you to this link, and the Fury is always used in the web browser. If you get this error message, click on you get this, click on advanced. Then below you will find one link, click on that link. This will take you to this screen. This is an SAP Fury screen. Use the same credential what you are using for your GUI screen. And click on login. This will load and this will open. For example, I can tell this is same as your Amazon application. If a buyer wants to search for an item, he can put the item name and search and place an order. So these all are your applications. These all are your application. Now assume that you want to create a material. Let me explain this a bit. So if this is your home, if you want to come to the home, you can click on this home. That will directly take you to the home. Or you can click on this SAP also, that will take you directly to the home page. This is your search bar. Here you have a lot of things to search. Normally we call these tiles as an apps application. So you can click on apps and put the app name, which app you want to search, and that will be visible. Here you have your notification. If you have any notification, that will come here. This is your profile. What is your profile name? Then what is your version you're using? All those things will be applicable, will be showing here. And these are your tiles. For example, if you are completely under a buyer role, this is for end user, not for consultant. Consultant will not use Fury at any time. Consultant will use Fury only to train the end users. Okay. So these are the tiles. So if a person is completely a buyer, he will be using only some apps. Okay, there is one more person who is sourcing person. His job is to just check what are the purchase requisitions which are open and see if the vendors are available or not, and then create the RFQ and maintain the quotations. So here we have a new tile created. Under this tile, we have only these three apps. So he will go into this create purchase requisition, see what are PRs open. Then he'll go and create the RFQ, and then he'll process the RFQ. He'll be only using these three. If a person is completely working off a master data, then you can add here. So how to add this? So how you have a Play Store in your mobile phone, you also have an app finder in your Fury. I'll go to app finder. In this app finder, you will be able to see all the apps which are available. There are approximately 3000 apps in Fury. So think that you need to create a material. So I don't want to put MM01 and directly put a text saying that create material. This will take you to this create material apps. This, if I go into this is my MM01. Okay. If I want to add this to my tile, I'm going to only create materials. So go to this pin. If you want to create a new group, create a new group, select it and click on close. That will go and add into that tile. Okay. So how can we find this apps, the list of apps, the complete list of apps? For that, you need to go to the website called, once again, you need to go to the website called SAP Fury. Let me open the Chrome and then reshare my screen. Let me reshare. So here in your search bar, put SAP Fiori apps library. Open the first link. In this link, you will be able to see this screen coming. Once this is loaded, you'll be able to see all apps, SAP Cloud apps, Fiori apps, all those things. So click on all apps. So here you will have all the app list. So there are 16,000 apps in Fiori library. Before 1 year, it was 13,000. In the 6 months, they have added 3,000 more apps. So now, assume that you want to create a purchase requisition and you want to find what is the app. So I put ME21N directly. I know the transaction, I don't know the app. I put the transaction, click on execute, search. So these are the apps. This is the app. Create purchase order or create purchase order advanced is the app. Okay. Now I want to create a contract. ME31K. This is the app. Create purchase contract is the app. I want to create a schedule agreement. Create schedule agreement is my app. So you can see here the app name. If I open the app name, I'll be able to see the complete details of the app here. Why it is used and for what purpose it is used. All those things I'll be able to see here. Here, the consultant work is nothing. This business catalogs, business roles, all this will be taken care of basis team. If someone need an access of this application, then that person is going to request the access for the application and the basis will come to this website and take the business role and add this business role in the user. Then they will have the access to this app. So that is how this Fury is going to work. That is the main advantage. You don't want to remember the transaction codes. You can use the text directly and start using it. If you open GUI, GUI will not tell you anything. If I open GUI here, and when I open this screen, system will not tell you anything. This is the work you need to do. When you enter a transaction, only then it will take you into the transaction and you can start working on it. But in Fury, whenever you are into Fury, if you have any POs to approve, if you have any PRs to approve, if any of the PO is going out of control, that means the vendor is not delivering you on time. Some contracts are going to expire. You cannot see anything in GUI. But in Fury, there is an app called Procurement Overview. In App Finder, you can see Procurement Overview. So if you select this, this will show you the complete details or complete picture of your purchases. So what are the purchase requisitions you have? What are the purchase orders you have? What are the contracts you have? When are those contracts getting expired? What is the status of this purchase requisition? When it was created and why it was not converted? So all these things you will be able to see in a single app. And the other advantage is also you will be able to see this views in a graphical view. When I say graphical view, you will be able to see in pie chart or a bar graph chart, all those things. Okay. So now this is open. I'll put a currency as INR. Click on go. So when you're opening Fury for the first time, it will take some time to open all the data. But within 5 or 10 minutes, you will be able to see everything. So one second, it is loading. As the data is huge, it is taking some time. Now it is opening one by one. So here you can see you have a list of contracts. So it's saying that this contract is going to end in 7 days, it is in red. This is going to end in 3 weeks, this is going to end in 2 months. Okay, if you want to click on this, then it will take you to the complete picture of the contracts. And here you can see the purchase requisition items. There is a purchase requisition which was raised 2 years ago and it was not converted to PO. You can also see which is open, just open. You want to see just PRs which are open, you can select this and you can see which all PRs are open. If you go into this app, you will be able to see all the PRs. And this tile is going to show what is the supplier performance. Is supplier delivering the material on time? Or supplier is changing any price? All those things. And here you can see the purchase order items. If the purchase order is closed or it is still open, all those things. And how are we going to manage the material? Based on material group. In SAP GUI, you don't have this option. You cannot see which material type is getting sold more, all those things. But here you can see. You can see based on material group, you can see based on material supplier. If I want to see the material supplied by the supplier, how it is performing. This material is giving a sales of 93.1 K INR. If I want to check based on the material group, the raw material is giving me more sales. Material group SP is giving me more sales. I'm going to purchase this more and sell this more. And you can also see the purchase spend here. How much I'm going to spend on my purchases. In 2023, I purchased more than 1.5 lakhs of amount. You can see the net amount, or above you can see the value also, PO net amount. And gradually, in February, I purchased so much. In March, I purchased so much. Less. From April, my purchase is going low. In February 2024, I have not placed anything. In January, I placed so much of amount of POs. So this is how the Fury is going to help you. If you want to see the same information in the GUI, you need to remember the transactions. You need to go into the transactions and check everything manually. But here, if you open one app, this is giving you all the informations. So you can also see the supplier confirmations, how the supplier has confirmed the items, and when it is going to get delivered, all the things you will be seeing in a single app. That too in the graphical view. It is cleanly explaining that this green is a material items. This is a different material item. If you want to see a pie chart, you can see the pie chart. If you want to see indifferent, you can see indifferent. Okay. And one more thing, if you put just, for example, I will just put 1984 here and click on enter. All the information which is related to 1984 will come here. So I don't want to remember anything. The buyer don't want to remember anything. None of the transactions, nothing. If you put just 1984, it will give you all the results related to 1984. So you can see this is showing the completely information regarding the company codes. It is showing company code 1994 and it is giving you all the information. What are the purchase orders which are raised? What are the employees we have? All those things. So this is why the buyer prefer to use Fury instead of GUI. Okay. And one more thing here which we need to highlight is, for example, if I go into any of the reports, normally if you have any reports in SAP, you need to download the report. You need to extract that to Excel. And then you need to create a pie chart or a graphical view for that. But here in this, you can directly, I should have opened there itself. I open this app, I can monitor how the purchase order items are getting delivered. And if I put a currency here, let me simplify it more easier. Let me put the plant. You can filter based on all the information. If you want to see based on the order status, you can select the order status. If you want to see based on the date range, you can also put the date range. And here you can see below you have the list in Excel. You can still export it to the Excel. And above you have the graphical view. You have the bar graph already figured it out. So this is how the Fury is going to work. Okay, any questions?
Sir, this is counterpart like for the Oracle NetSuite, right, sir? Like
Sorry?
in Oracle NetSuite, there is like a graphical representation.
Yes,
So they now they have
you can
taught it.
assume. Yeah, you can assume like that.
Yeah. So this interface just gives a graphical representation and gives easy transactions.
Yes, it's a transaction for the buyers.
Sir, whatever we implement in the configuration, and that will be reflecting over here, sir.
Yes, it will be, but you cannot do the configuration here. But the
Okay.
configuration, what you do in GUI will get reflected here.
Okay. So this is interlinked with each other, like.
Yes, it is interlinked by SAP.
If an end user wants SAP Fiori to as a interface, and so how will we implement it?
We are not going to implement it. That is implemented by SAP. That is the reason I said this tool is functioned by SAP, not by us. The interface is built by SAP. Whatever we
Okay.
do in the GUI will get reflected in your Fury, and the buyer can use it here instead of GUI.
Understood, sir. Thank you.
So then in actual job role, is there any kind of queries come from customer regarding Fury and how
Sorry?
we have to deal? While working as a functional consultant, in some job roles, I gone through some job roles there. It is mentioned that Fury, you should have a knowledge of Fury as well. So in that scenario, is there any kind of queries raised by our customer, and we have to how can we tackle those how can we solve those queries? Is there anything or?
Fury has two parts. You need to read the JD first carefully in job description. If they have mentioned that you also need to handle the technical part of Fury, then that is not our module. We have the Fury consultant who is going to work on this. That is a different module. If they just mention that you need to have a knowledge on Fury, if you have knowledge on the end user part of Fury, that is sufficient. How are you going to create the purchase requisition material? How are you going to release the PO or PR in Fury? That is sufficient. Because why they ask you need to have the Fury experiences, you need to train the end users.
Okay.
You need to train the end users. That is the reason they are asking you need to have some Fury experience.
Okay, understood. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any more questions?
No question, sir.
Okay. So today we covered the release procedure. So evening we will have the level 2 session where we will be discussing regarding the what we are going to cover in level 2, and we are also going to cover one topic which is called as project types. Okay. We'll meet at 4 o'clock evening today.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, noted, sir.
Okay, sir.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.